What up, folks? My name is Fabio. My friends call me Fobster. Welcome back to the channel for another review video. After nearly 3 years and a 3-day takeover of Mezco's social media and website, the Pink Skulls Chaos Club has finally returned to the hands of Mez collectors. But is this set really better than the originals? Is it still worth backtracking to get that first set? Or would that be a real Numpty Dumpty move? Let's find out in my review of the Pink Skulls Chaos Club Gig from Hell box set. And here is the Pink Skulls Chaos Club Gig from Hell box set box. So we can take a look at some of the graphics on the outside, which are honestly pretty cool. The front right here, we do have the 3 Pink Skulls members outside of what looks to be a CBGB-inspired club. And at the top, even the PSCC initials are there in the same CBGB-style font. And CBGB is a very famous club in New York, where a lot of the early punk movement got its start, where like the Ramones and Blondie and Talking Heads would play their first shows at that era. Over here, we got some graffiti that says Deviation of Articulation, which is a lyric from one of the songs on the LP. On the bottom right here, we have some crowd moshing, which will make a little bit more sense when you convert this into the actual stage set. On both sides, it says Pink Skulls Chaos Club, and on the back, just that same moshing crowd motif continuing. You even got Steve Urkel right there. Pretty cool. Another reason I really wanted to show the box off as well is because, well, those who got this in hand already know that this is actually shipping out of Fife, Washington. And Fife, not necessarily known for the best and most secure packaging methods, so my box actually came with a huge dent right here. I don't know how well you can see that. The box is like totally wrinkled right there. You can definitely see it got smashed in, I think before they even put it into the package, because the outside box itself was not dented in any way, but they must have dropped this before packaging it in a box for me, so that's a little disappointing, but thankfully it does not destroy the box altogether. The contents were fine, and you can still put it together into the stage set. Just something, since I'm doing a review of the set, I thought it'd be worth pointing out, because look at this. I mean, it's meant to be a pretty clean box, and unfortunately I did get that packaging ding right there. You can even see it like dented the top of it right there too. Pretty disappointing, but it is what it is. It still converts into the stage set as normal, so when you do open the front of the box here, you see that it has the Pink Skulls graphics, and you take these 2 flaps right here, and you plug them into the tabs there, so that you can create the stage set. But as you can see, the packaging ding here does create like a huge ugly wrinkle right across the speaker graphic. So then to actually get into the contents of the box, tab these 2 back in, and you lift up this floor for the stage set there. And the 3 trays containing the figures and all the accessories are down there on bottom, so we're gonna get into those right now. And here we have the Pink Skulls Chaos Club Gig from Hell box set out of the package. Before we get into the figures real quick, I just wanted to show you guys the LP that this set comes with, containing 8 original songs, including the lead single, Numpty Dumpty, as we heard on the trailer for these figures. And one interesting little piece of information that I found on here I think is cool. This actually kind of gives a name to each of the Pink Skulls, given that the 3 of them now kind of have their own look and own personality. I like that we have actually got a little bit of information here showing like the names of them. So we have 1, 2, and 3. 1 is guitar and lead vocals, 2 bass and vocals, and 3 drums. So with that information, that'll actually make it a lot easier to distinguish these guys from each other when we get into the individual looks at the figures. Just thought that was kind of interesting to note on there. And on top of the LP, you also get a lyric booklet for all of the different songs. And if you don't have a record player to play the LP, you actually do get a download code on here for a digital download, which I've already used. It's on the back. I won't show you that, just in case. I've listened through the entire LP. It is actually very, very good. Some serious bangers on there. I think the instrumental track, Club Chaos, might be my favorite, but Double Jointed Elbows and Secondary Market Suckers are pretty hilarious as well. So, with that said, now we can take a look at the figures, because this will make it a little bit easier. With that information in mind, this will actually make it a little bit easier to refer to them by their individual character names. So we're going to start with 1 right here. Out of box, this is how they're going to come. You're going to get 1 in the middle, 2 on the left, and 3 on the right. So we're going to start with 1, which is lead guitar and vocals, and he actually came with the jacket zipped up. They all did, but I unzipped it just so you could see the graphic on him, kind of a Bad Brains-inspired lightning bolt there. Very nice pleather material on all these guys. Just want to give you a quick little overview of all of them and show you the key differences, and then we'll get into the accessories. So again, this one is going to have the sort of open jacket look. He's got a pair of jeans as well, but actually different from the jeans that come on number 2 over here. He has the boots that are reused from Clown Prince of Crime Joker, so you do get that extra little bit of ankle articulation on there on top of the boot swivel. But the jeans that he has don't have that sort of double-ribbed look to them. These are just straight black jeans. You can see the shirt goes all the way past the belt, so you can get a nice tucked-in look like that, or you can give him sort of a French tuck look if you want a little bit of the belt exposed there. Really nice material on that as well, no worries at all. These, of course, out of package are going to come with the 3 stylized heads new for this set right here, which look more like the animation, like in the art on the front of the box, and on the LP hinged jaws on all 3 of those as well, which is very, very cool. Great for holding some of the accessories we'll see in a moment. And now number 2, bass and vocals. He's got also the jacket. They all have the same jacket, but his shirt underneath has no graphics. So I'm kind of doing like a half zip on him so you can, again, differentiate between the 3 of them. This one is going to have the same jeans that came on Street Gomez and the original set of Pink Skulls, again, with sort of that double-ribbed look right there, slightly more detail to the jeans, and a new set of boots with the tongue down that don't have that extra ankle articulation. They're just that single set of boots that swivel there, and a little bit of rock to them because it's a ball joint. But overall, not quite as much articulation as those Clown Prince of Crime Joker boots from number 1. And all of them also have this Pink Skulls graphic on the back, which is very nice. It's not like a screen print or anything. It's like there, part of the leather material. And this is a very nice pleather material, which doesn't really hinder articulation at all. It creases nice and naturally, but doesn't really get a lot of creases that stay on them, even when you leave them in poses for too long. So that's actually really nice. I think this material is actually going to hold up a lot better than some of the pleathers that they've used in the past. They feel really good to the touch, and I don't see a lot of worries coming out of that. And that especially comes into play when we get into number 3 here, the drummer, who also on top of the jacket, or underneath the jacket, also has a hoodie, which actually has a little bit of bendy wire to it, so you can sort of sculpt that around his head as need be and give it a more natural look. You do have a bendy wire in there, so you can help with the posing of that. As we like to say, you have to pose the clothing on these guys as well. And as I said, the pleather material does come into play a little bit more onto this one because the pants on him, different from the first 2 here, he has actual pleather pants as well instead of jeans. And he does have the chucks as well, just like the previous Pink Skulls and many versions of Gomez before him. So again, the pleather material, while it doesn't worry me, because it's on the legs, and it is a little bit tight, there could be a little bit of worry over time with that stretching and starting to flake. However, I don't see that this material is going to be anything like some of the other pleathers that I've seen third-party soft goods companies use, where it starts flaking almost right away. I'm thinking of the Great Twins Terminator that has, basically a full pleather outfit like this as well, and that one started flaking almost immediately. And just by the touch of it, I can already tell this is just a much, much better material. I can see it holding up way better over time. On top of that, you get some extra detailing on there with some pockets, and I do have it with this jacket kind of all the way zipped up to, again, sort of differentiate between the 3 of them. No zip, half zip, full zip, that kind of thing going on. You got some pink laces on the chucks as well. But other than that, they are basically the same as all the other chucks we've seen. Good amount of little ball joint articulation at the bottom there. Probably a little bit more than even the tongue-down boots on number 2 over here. So that's just a quick overview of the 3 Pink Skulls so we can see the slight differences between the 3 of them. I like that they've gone and done that because the original Pink Skulls were basically 3 of the exact same figure, and you sort of had to customize them on your own, but they were out of box stock, the exact same figure, 3 times, whereas they've gone to really good lengths on this set to really differentiate between the 3 of them. So now we're going to get into the accessories for these guys and get them prepped up for their Gig from Hell. So now taking a look at the accessories for the Pink Skulls Chaos Club Gig from Hell box set here, we're going to start with the hands, because just as these 3 were in their package with 1 in the middle, 2 on the left, and 3 on the right, each of them comes with their own unique tray of hands that have hands that are specific to each of them so that they can correspond to the different instruments that each of them play. So for example, for the guitar and the bass player, you do get these OK style hands, which originally came with Cousin Eddie, but actually make really great guitar pick holding hands for those 2 characters. And similarly to that, the drummer on the right here, number 3, is the only one that comes with the full wide open hands like this, which are great for making it look like he's twirling his drumstick in between his fingers. Now, there are some hands that are shared between the 3 of them that are on all 3 trays, such as the single finger pointing hand, the 2 finger pointing hand, and the middle finger hand. There are other hands that are, again, unique to each different character so that they correspond to the different instruments that they play. But there are also certain left and right hands that are split amongst the 2 different trays. So the left and right sort of more gestural 3-finger spread hands are split amongst the bass and the guitar player, and the 2 sort of karate chop hands are also split amongst those 2. And that could be good for different techniques of the different things that they play on the neck of the guitar if they're really starting to jam out. Now the bassist and the drummer both come with the sort of underbarrel holding hand, which is good for the AK-47 accessory we'll take a look at shortly, as well as all 3 of them also have the trigger finger hand. And the guitar and the bass player also come with the two devil horn hands for the left and the right. And 1 and 2 are also the only ones that come with this kind of wider C-grip hand, which is good for gripping the neck of their respective guitars. Now, in the tray on the right here, the drummer is also the only one that comes with the two C-grip hands, which are obviously great for holding the drumsticks when he's actually playing, as well as the two Shaka-style hands, which I think are also good for twirling the drumstick in between his fingers. Now, obviously, you can mix and match all of these hands across the 3 different characters, however you see fit. I just thought it was interesting to note how each of the trays has different hands that correspond to the different instruments that these characters play. Now, moving in to take a closer look at the portraits that these pink skulls come with out of the package. In the middle, number 1 does have a more angry skull look to him. Number 2 on the left has more of a neutral look, I would say. More wide-eyed, not quite as much of a furrowed brow. And on the right, number 3 has definitely more of an angry squint. Definitely the smallest of the eyes on him. And all 3 of them have those bright yellow pupils. Now, these are, as I said earlier, more animated style, more looking like the artwork that we've seen for a lot of the pink skulls in animation and on the graphics. But very cool that we finally got this style of head portrait for these pink skulls, a first for these particular characters. Now, swapping in the second set of head portraits that these pink skulls come with, these are more in the original art style of the pink skulls head sculpts, but now with some new unique expressions for the 3 of them. 1 in the middle, again, with slightly that more angry look, the furrowed brow in the middle. You can see his left, our right eye socket is just a little bit bigger and a little higher up than the one on his right, our left. And originally I thought that number 2 had that same head portrait repeated, but it's actually a different one. It's more of a inquisitive, one brow lowered, one brow raised sort of look. And then the drummer, number 3 on the right, has that more sort of jolly look. And unique to these head sculpts as well, brand new, is that they all have hinged jaws, which I think is just a great feature. And I'll probably end up displaying these pink skulls with these particular head sculpts right here, just to sort of match the art style of the original, but also show how that's evolved over time and show off the new features like the new expressions and the hinged jaws, which allow you to still make use of some of the accessories. And here they are with the original head sculpts from that first set of the Pink Skulls Chaos Club, now in a slightly darker pink with a more black wash and sort of a matte coat over the top of it to differentiate it from that first set, which was a little bit more glossy. And I'll go ahead and bring in one of the originals for comparison here. Yeah, as you can see, here they are compared next to each other, and you can see that the original one here has more of a glossy sort of tone to it, slightly more pastel pink, whereas this new one is a little bit darker, more of a black shading to it. You can see that especially in the teeth, they're a little bit more of a black wash to them. These are a little bit more of that bone white, and again, just that gloss and that pastel are the really big key differences between the 2 of them here. And you'll also note that the new set all have pink necks and as well as pink underbodies, whereas the original ones had that black neck with a pink stripe along the back of it there, as well as an all-black underbody. And now we're going to get into the headwear that these pink skulls come with. All of the headwear I'm going to show right now fits across all 9 of the head sculpts included with this set, but for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to pretty much show it on the one in the middle here, number 1. Starting with this crown over here, which can be a little difficult to tell which way to put it on, but all you got to do is kind of find the seam right here in the plastic and then sort of shape it from there. And it is a soft, sort of rubbery material, so with a little bit of wedging, it fits on there pretty well, sort of a little jughead crown on there. And up next, we have this bowler cap, which again, does fit on all of the heads, so you can choose which one of these guys to give it to. I think I'm going to end up giving this one to this guy back here, number 3, our drummer. Give him sort of a Trey Cool look over there, I guess. And then up next, we have this sort of like old-timey general hat over here, which is cool, but I don't know how much I like it. I don't know if I'll end up displaying this one with it, but as with all the hats, it is a pretty good fit on there. Just a matter of whether you like it or not. And next up, we have this old-timey leatherhead football helmet, which, you know, is from before they introduced real helmet regulations into football equipment. So these players are just running around giving each other CTE, wearing no padding. Kind of a cool look. And then up next is this sort of flight helmet, kind of a old school sort of aviator helmet, maybe like aviator cap. Looks pretty good, I think. I like that the straps run down the side. And there's also 2 sets of these goggles that come with this set. And this actually is perfect to either fit over their eyes or with the elastic band included here. It does fit over this aviator helmet pretty well to sort of give it that old school aviator look as well. And I actually really like how that looks, so I'm going to end up putting that over here on our basis number 2. Next up, we have this hockey mask right here, which has some blood splatter on it as well, an elastic band on the back, so you can just fit it over the head of these guys. Pairs really nicely with the cricket bat accessory that we'll take a look at here in just a sec. And I think this actually fits over one of the animated style portraits a little bit better, just so you can see the yellow of the eyes coming through the eye sockets of the mask there. I think that looks pretty cool. And finally, you do get this Johnny cap right here, which is the same as the one that came with the original set of the Pink Skulls, but now all black with a little bit of a glossy black in the front on the bill there. As you can see, it is the same hat, just again, a different color. And I think this is the one that I'm gonna... You do get 3 sets of these as well, so you can put them across all 3 of the Pink Skulls, as you could with the original set. And I think I am gonna end up displaying this one on this particular Pink Skull number 1. It's a sort of homage to that first set. And you also do get 3 sets of these glasses, which I think is going to complete the look for our lead singer and guitarist here. Give him sort of a Rob Halford homage as well. I think that looks really, really cool. You do get 3 sets of those. And with our Pink Skulls dressed for the show now, with their new headwear, we can take a look at the rest of their accessories over here. So starting off, you get 6 of these beer cans right here, which have 2 different effects you can actually plug into them. You can see nice label on there, just reads beer on both sides. You can take this sort of exploding accessory. There's a slight hole to the top of the can there. Just find the key for the peg, and boom, that just plugs in right there just like that, and make it look like you just popped open the can. You have the beer sort of spilling out, all fizzed up. Be great if they find a way to reuse this accessory and put it into some spray cans for maybe another version of Vapor or another character from the Hoods to make it look like it's spraying the actual spray paint. Very good reuse that would be. And you also get another effect where it looks like the foam is spilling down the side of the can. It's the same kind of thing. Just find a little hole to plug it in, and boom, you can have it look like the beer is overflowing and fizzing out of the side there. Very cool. I love that they added these new effect pieces for this set. And you also get the broken bottle right here, which just has those little jagged edges right there, meant to be more of a weapon than anything else. Pretty cool little new accessory there. You get this 40-ounce bottle of 40 Dog beer, Sudsea's Swill. Pretty cool there. I don't think, I could try, but I don't think you can actually plug in the accessories from the top of these here. No, you cannot. It would be cool if you could, actually, but no, you can't. Yeah, the hole is a different shape, so you can't fit those suds and spraying effects onto this bottle, but pretty cool nonetheless. You also get another liquor bottle right here that says Wild Kitty right there. And you can see it even has a little bit of liquid in there. And this is the exact same bottle as some of the other liquor bottles we've gotten from Mezco, first with Cousin Eddie and then Holiday Gomez. Came with 2 different versions of the same bottle, just a different label on there so we can add to our in-universe Mezco liquor cabinet. You also get a couple of pieces of jewelry. I mean, if you could even call them that, because it's basically just a padlock with an anarchy symbol carved into it there. Pretty cool, though. I think I am going to put this on the bass player real quick. And then you also get a gold medallion necklace right there with that Pink Skull embossed onto there. Nothing on the back, but again, a smaller gold chain right here. I think this will actually be a really good accessory for Cousin Eddie, who of course had that giant, you know, real size chain. I think this will be a slightly more appropriate accessory for him if I wanted to have him maybe join the band. Cousin Eddie is maybe the lead singer or something. I don't know, but just like the idea of having more options for the rest of our Rumble Society universe. Really cool little medallion accessory there. And then over here, you do have 6 drumsticks as well, meant for number 3 over here. Of course, he has the smaller sort of C-grip hands that are sized to hold these drumsticks, so they are technically meant for him, but again, anyone can really hold the hands that you want. And you also get 6 different lit and unlit, so 12 total jazz cigarettes, let's call them. And these are actually really cool, a lot of great detail on them. You can just slightly open the jaw and then wedge it into their mouth to look like they're in the middle of, you know, getting lit. And then moving on with a few of the other accessories, you also get this AK-47 or AK-74U if my Call of Duty knowledge serves me right. No buttstock. You do get a removable magazine as well with an actual bullet there at the top. Nice little detail. Just plugs in super easily. And you also do get an extra one of these magazines in case you lose this one, or maybe you want to double strap them, whatever you choose to do there. You also get this old-timey bomb accessory with a big fuse coming out of the top of it. You can actually remove that fuse, and you see there's like a keyed peg right there. And you can plug in this second fuse, which is actually lit as well. I think I'm going to end up displaying this with my Golden Age Batman to do that scene from the 66 Batman movie where, you know, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Pretty cool accessory. If they ever do a 66 Batman legit, this would be a great accessory to reuse for that for sure. And then you also get this cricket bat right here. It just says Beamer right there. A couple little battle damage details on it. Black wash, or kind of a brown wash throughout it to bring out those details. Handle. And this is perfect accessory for these sort of Cockney-themed characters as far as the way that they speak. Would make sense that they have a cricket bat lying around, right? And then getting into some of the soft goods accessories, you get this work shirt, which is really cool. It has that sort of rigid starchiness of a real work shirt. Some nice stitching throughout. Nice big high collar. And you could remove some of the jackets on one of these guys and put on this work shirt instead. Or to match the artwork on the front of the box, you could actually tie this around number 1's waist, which I think is what I'm going to do. And as a homage to that original Pink Skull set, you do get 3 of the original striped shirts, which, again, you can just take off the shirts on this set right here and put these on instead, and you end up with basically the same outfit as that original set with, you know, the pants and the boots being different and stuff. Really glad that they included this. I think a lot of people who only got this set and missed out on the original would have definitely missed out on this accessory, given how iconic the striped shirts are for the Pink Skulls look in general. I'm really glad that they included this. Very good for people who missed out on that original set, and pretty much makes it obsolete. And on that same thought process, you do get the original black and blue checkerboard bandanas from that original set as well. Very cool, again, that they included this. You can just tie these around their necks or around their arms, wherever you wish, to sort of recreate that look, give them a little extra color pop amongst all the pink and black on them already. And then brand new to this set, you also get a feather boa, which I haven't taken out of the package yet, but maybe when I do the final setup towards the end, I will end up putting this around one of the band members. Again, really cool, new accessory, big color pop to it. Glad that they included this. And then as accessories for your soft goods, you also get some cloth decals, which you can put on the leather jackets or maybe on that work shirt that I showed to sort of personalize your Pink Skulls. Get a lot of really cool sort of punk-themed accessories and references on here. You get Sex Squirrels and sort of a Sex Pistols font there. You do get a couple different versions of the Pink Skulls Chaos Club logo with the top and the bottom rocker. This one with a more skull and crossbones look. And then some of the smaller ones here, you get RSHC, which would be like Rumble Society Hardcore. And then a couple of other little small ones here that I don't necessarily recognize. This one says Toxic Youth, so maybe a Sonic Youth reference. You got a Rumble Society one. You get a snake that looks vaguely like the character Snake from The Simpsons. Am I wrong there? I'm not sure. Oh, you get a nice Atticus Doom reference right here with the Doom hand with the eyeball on it. That's pretty cool. Moving down a little bit, some more sort of Pink Skulls stuff. PSCC and that CBGB font. Same with the one up here. Nice disembodied hand with a middle finger sticking up. Just a stylized Pink Skull there. Moving down, you get a Dead Nixon logo, kind of a Dead Kennedys reference. That's pretty cool. Chicken Frank, which is actually one of the songs on the LP called Chicken Frank. It's got one lyric, Chicken Frank. Pretty great song. You get a pink bony middle finger hand. Route 69. Nice. You get a straight up, well, I mean, it's a very close, but just slightly off. It says Miss Zits, and you can see it's the Misfit skull with some little zits on it, little pimples on there. That's pretty funny. Got a FTW, Rumble Society, Skull and Crossbones there. Black Bag, you know, instead of Black Flag. Love it. Love wordplay. Destroy Power, cool. You get the Dead Rabbits, again, what looks to be basically Bugs Bunny on there. You got a FU patch. This one is really hard to read, but it says Third Crown, I believe. Not sure what that's a reference to. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. You get someone's portrait right here in black and white. It says Dork underneath it. You get the skull hand with the middle finger up that we had on the original jackets, already imprinted on the original Pink Skulls jackets, so that's cool that they included that, so you can put it on the arm of one of the jackets for these guys if you want. You get the classic Rumble Society logo with the beat-up skull there. And then over here, it's the Rolling Stones lips kind of puking right there. I think that's pretty cool. A lot of really fun little punk references on here. I think this is a really dope thing to have included to, again, personalize your Pink Skulls as you see fit. Give them a more individualized look among the three of them. Very cool. Now, moving the tray aside over here, we can take a look at some of the instruments. Starting with the guitar over here, which has that sort of devil horn hand body. A lot of little battle damage detail on there. You can see a little bit of writing on there. I can't quite make out what that says, even on camera. It could just be damage from the pick. I'm not quite sure, but some of the other details on here, like the volume knobs being just made out of hardware, you know, like you would, this is just like a nut that you would, you know, maybe tighten and loosen with a big wrench or something. Same on the top here where the strap is attached. The strap is actually that real pleather material, if you could call it that. Slightly thicker than the jackets as well, so there's a little bit more rigidity to it. Doesn't feel like it's going to tear at all when you pull at it. I like the detail of the strings, which are actually sculpted on there. Unlike a lot of other 112 scale guitars that I've seen and have in my collection, which just have the strings painted on. You got the humbuckler pickups there, same as I use on my guitar, so I dig that detail. I also love the detail of the top string missing, the E string, and, you know, given that this isn't metal, this is punk, you don't need that E string for anything. You just play power chords on the bottom 5 strings, so that is actually a very, very cool detail right there. You can also see one of the tuner knobs is missing and just band-aided in place to hold the string in. I think that's also a very cool detail. Just a lot of really cool punk sort of oriented stuff going on here. On the back, We have that Joni plus Chachi, I think it says. That's really hard to make out. I believe that says Joni plus Chachi, which is an old TV reference as well. On the back, it really looks like this was two different guitar necks just sort of hastily glued and stapled and then band-aided together right there. Very punk indeed. You can see it goes from black to brown on the rest of it. On the back, you can just see these big staples right there. So this was probably two different guitar necks just put together. A lot of cool like battle damage on there. Hard to see what that detail really is. It could just be damage from the pick, given there's no like real pick guard on here. Yeah, just a lot of really cool details. I love this guitar a lot. This is awesome. And then moving on to the bass guitar over here, which has that stylized skull on there that the Pink Skulls have for their head skulls, but now in white. Another very cool detail. You got a pink lightning bolt on there. This does seem like a more straight cut instrument, not quite as battle damaged as the guitar, so very cool that maybe the bass player kept his instrument in slightly better shape, better condition. On the back, just another lightning bolt and just a little bit of battle damage, maybe from like the belt buckle, you know, as it would rub up against him while he's playing. Yeah, very cool detail on here. All the strings on there as well are sculpted, and he actually has all four of them. Same sort of leather strap right there. So yeah, very cool that the details of this are pretty correct to real instruments. And then getting into the microphone stand, which at its base kind of looks like a manhole cover of some kind. You can see it says Rumble Society New York Hardcore. Very cool. Now, I'll plug in the stand in just a moment, but I'll show you the back as well. Also says Rumble Society New York Hardcore. It's got that same motif of the three stylized skulls on there. Same on the top, a couple of Anarchy logos, and then the Mezco logo in the middle with sort of a hole cut out in the center where you would plug in the microphone stand. So now this is where I'm going to issue a little warning to everybody with this set or who will be getting this set. It's sort of shown as though you can plug in the microphone stand on the front here, right? But given the sculpting of like the eye socket over here, when I tried to plug it in from this side, I actually took like a slight chunk out of the eye socket there, if you can see that. And that's a little unfortunate, you know, I definitely did that, that's my fault. A word to the wise here, I would actually recommend you flip this guy around. Given that there's a little bit more space around the hole right there for this side, it's actually a much cleaner plug in for the microphone stand when you do it on this side. Whereas if you were to do it on this side, there would be like a little bit of unevenness to it and it wouldn't plug in quite as snug. So just a little buyer beware sort of warning right there. You don't want to plug it in on this side or you'll take a chunk out of the eye socket like I did by mistake. You know, it happens. And I'm taking a look at the rest of the microphone stand. It's basically just piping, you know, just plumber piping just put together. It actually unplugs here in the middle. There's sort of a connector piece right there. So you can't really shorten it. It needs that middle piece right there, but I think that's just to allow a little bit of extra wiggle room for it when you're trying to position it. And then moving up to the top of it here, it has this clamp right here where you would actually plug in the actual microphone. So if you wanted to have the microphone by itself and just have him holding it in his hand, that's totally possible. There's sort of like a knuckle duster detail onto it. That's pretty cool. Find the clamp right here and just pop it in. And now you have your microphone attached to the stand there. Very cool. And then getting into the drum kit, which if you don't want to read the instructions, I'll go ahead and assemble it on here so you can see how it's done. You get just the bass drum like this, right? It comes separate and packaged. There's two extra wrench accessories right there. And these wrenches actually have a tremendous amount of detail. If you close in real quick, you can see it says Masturbator Nut Wrench with the M Mezco logo. And then it says 69 on both sides here. Very cool little detail. A lot of like sharp nicks taken out of it. Just a really detailed little piece. And on the side of the drum kit, you'll actually find these pieces right here. You'll see a divot in the middle, and you want to take these nut wrenches here and just plug them in on the side to act as sort of stands so that the bass drum doesn't go rolling to either side, right? Just find a way to anchor that, and boom, there you go. Then you bring in your snare drum right here, which has like a red bandage detail on the top. It has a ball peg here on the bottom of it, and then you find the ball socket right here on the bass drum, and boom, that just plugs in easily like that. And then next you'll get this other little piping piece right here, which I thought originally was actually part of the microphone stand as sort of an extension, so that way you use the microphone while you're playing guitar, you have a little bit of extra room, which is something that real mic stands do. So I was trying to figure out if this plugged into the stand for a while, but this is actually meant for this drum kit right here, which is how you attach the cymbals. So you have the peg hole right there, and this actually attaches to this peg right here. It sort of looks like it screws in, and then you just want to find the right angle for that. This spins in a couple of different ways, so you can find the best angle for it. And you bring in your cymbal, which comes separately like this, has another ball peg on the bottom of it, and that plugs in right here to the top of the pipe. And then you have the most punk drum kit ever with just a bass drum, a snare, and a crash. Pretty cool. And then next you bring in the kick pedal right here, which looks like it's made out of an old shoe sizing device. I'm not quite sure. That's pretty cool though. Cool detail. And you could also use a real kick action on it. So if you press it down, it actually pushes the 8-ball top of it And so ideally this would go right there onto the bass drum, and boom, it actually works. Not that you'll ever need that detail and won't ever show up in photos quite so accurately, but very cool that it's been included nonetheless. And there you go. And there you have your drum kit assembled. Very, very cool. You want to bring in your throne right here, and that's basically going to be your drum setup right there. So now with their gear assembled, I'm going to go ahead and swap the hands on them, and we can put together the Gig from Hell.
We got double jointed elbows, you got single jointed elbows, that makes us fancy fellows. I eat dirty bombs, there's no need for alarm, so keep calm and carry on. I can't articulate that I'm articulated. You play with my appendage, but it's ejaculated. Double jointed elbows. Double jointed elbows. Double jointed elbows. And it was not enough. Fucking wanker. The irony, as you can see, is my homie. It's pony resin. We don't take shit, so jump in the pit and mix it up with a dirty dozen. All you naughty muppets, get out the way. And all you jabbering thugs know that we don't play. Double jointed elbows. Double jointed elbows. Double jointed elbows. Baron Band, he ain't a bendy. Hyperarticulation is so trendy. Why is it that you can't see? We gave you double J-E. We gave you double jointed elbows. Not the flu. Yeah, my crew gave you double jointed elbows. We gave you double jointed elbows. We gave you double jointed elbows. We did.
All right, so what I've actually done here is swapped all their hands, like I said, and now I put them into the poses that they'll be in for the stage set before I bring that in. Just wanted to show you guys basically what hands I added here. So I put the kind of okay finger-picking hand over here on the bassist with one of the 3-finger spread hands to make it look like he's slapping on the frets a little bit like you would as a bass player. Gonna have him. I also added the Anarchy necklace around his neck, which looks pretty cool there. And then for number 1 over here, our singer and lead guitar player, gave him the, like I said, the Rob Halford sort of look with the Johnny cap and the sunglasses. And then I'm going to have him sort of throwing his head back, mouth open into the microphone so he can be screaming his punk lyrics. And I have him here with what is sort of the left-hand trigger finger hand, but I think it makes a really good power chord looking hand as well for the guitar. And then the same thing on him with the okay hand as the finger picking hand right there. I think that looks really cool. I also ended up adding the work shirt and tying it around his waist to look like he does on the front of the artwork of the box. And I think that's actually a really cool look for him. I was going to add this work shirt to like Cousin Eddie or some of the other members of the band if I end up adding some, but I actually think this is a really cool look. I like how you can sort of dynamically pose it by bending the fabric over a little bit. There's no bendy wire or anything, but you can get it to stay there just because of the rigidity and, you know, starchiness of the work shirt. I think that's a pretty cool look. Makes him look even more unique. And then finally for our drummer, he was a little bit more intricate to pose because it took me a sec to actually be able to fit the jazz cigarette into his mouth there, but putting it in sort of the corner of the mouth I think works pretty well to have it wedged in there. And like I said, for the open hand, I have him looking like he's sort of twirling the drumstick in between his fingers, and then the left hand, which is the one that would be hitting the snare drum just in the regular gripping hand like that. Now, as I said, he is going to be the one sitting down on the throne, or really the milk crate or whatever, for the drums there. So having him with the leather pants being in a seated position does give me a little bit of worry. I think the fabric stretches out pretty well despite it being that pleather material. I don't see any sort of tearing at the seams or anything like that coming on, so I think this is going to hold up pretty well. I don't know, I might end up switching it so one of the other guys in the jeans is in the drum position, but just for the sake of keeping it as it was on the record with him being 3 on drums, I think this will work for now. And yeah, you can see the jazz cigarette tends to be a little bit loose in the... I don't think the hinge on the mouth on these particular heads is quite as strong as on the animated heads, but you can get it to sit in there. You just can't be fudging around with it a little too much. So he fits nicely there on the drum throne. It's a good height, so he looks like he's actually sitting on there at the appropriate level to be playing the drums. Now I'll bring in the stage set. We'll finish arming the Gig from Hell, and then I'll bring in a few other figures for comparison as well. All right, and there we have our Gig from Hell box set all put together. And just a couple accessories that I did forget to mention earlier. You do get the typical Mezco Toys 112 collective disc stand here with the peg sticking out of it, which you can remove in order to add the clear clamp stand. as well as the 112 Collective clear accessory bag. You do get 3 of each of these accessories as well for each member of the band. And I do really like the art on the disc stand as well. This is more like a matted print on there, so you're not going to get a lot of fingerprints on this. You get the 3 pink skulls, a bunch of ha-ha-has, and then a dead pig right there in the bubble. A couple little details I'd really like on this set in particular. I like that the microphone stand has that sort of bend to it so that you can actually have him accurately playing the guitar close to the microphone without it actually bumping into the mic stand. I think that's a really good touch. And then, of course, I just scattered a few of the little bottles on there just to sort of give it a little bit of life. And if I really wanted to complete like a full band setup, what I might end up doing is having him here in the front, right? So you can still see the drummer in back. And then maybe this band needs a little bit of a hype man as well, so we can bring in Cousin Eddie over here wearing the feather boa that came with this set. And he's just the hype man. He's just there getting drunk, partying with the band on stage. I think that looks pretty cool. I do have him, again, with the feather boa that came with the set, which actually has a bendy wire in it, which is a really nice touch, so you can actually properly drape it around them. And another reason I wanted to bring Cousin Eddie in here is because he is built on the same body as these pink skulls. And I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, if you haven't had these pink skulls before, any figures built off of the Gomez body, what the articulation on these guys look like. And you can actually take the Christmas onesie that comes on this Cousin Eddie from the Advent calendar off, and that actually gives you the best look at any of these Gomez and skull bodies for these Mezco figures. And you can actually see it's quite a good amount of articulation. So if we want to run through that real quick, you do get a ball jointed head, which is how you're able to swap them out. You have a ball joint at the bottom of the neck there as well. And then the head actually has like a soft rubber insert on the inside there. So that makes it a lot easier to pop the heads on and off without really stretching the plastic on the inside. You do get shoulders that move in and out and forward and back. And there's a slight butterfly joint in there as well, which is good for getting them in those guitar positions like they are in the back over here. And you also get double jointed elbows. As the song says, we gave you double jointed elbows, and they always do with this Gomez body. The hands, as you are easily able to swap out, are on little ball joints that swivel and go in and out and everything as well. You get a nice diaphragm joint right here with a ball joint at the top of the diaphragm, and then at the bottom on the waist you get another ball joint, so you get a good amount of range on there. Obviously, when these guys have clothes on, some of that can be a little bit hindered, but just so you know, it is there. And underneath Cousin Eddie's skivvies here, he does have his leg joints, which go forward, you know, that much. They don't really move back at all, but they do move side to side quite a bit, so you can get them in a nice splits position. And you also get a thigh swivel underneath there as well. You get double jointed knees, and then at the base of the ankles, there is a ball joint, so you get a little bit of swivel side to side and a little bit of rocker side to side as well. So a good amount of articulation on these Gomez bodies here. Obviously, it can be hindered by the clothing, but it is there. You just got to be able to pose the clothing around these guys to be able to make it work. Now, Cousin Eddie, well, this isn't a Cousin Eddie review, I just wanted to note, since I am going to be using one of these accessories, Cousin Eddie originally came with this big chain for the Advent calendar version, right? And I actually really ended up liking the gold chain that came on this set right here. And I think if I pop the head off right here, I think I'm going to end up putting the gold chain from this set onto Cousin Eddie here, since he has that skull artwork on there. That medallion has that stylized skull on there. I think it's going to match really well with Cousin Eddie. And being that the chain isn't quite as thick, I think that's actually a slightly better match for Cousin Eddie himself and still keeps it pretty on brand. I wanted to take a few of the extra clothing pieces that come with this Gig from Hell set and put them on Cousin Eddie here and maybe have him join the band as an official member and maybe have him be lead singer. Move the guitarist back here, and then we can have Cousin Eddie right here on the microphone, which is, I think, pretty cool. I think this would be a nice little 4-piece band right here, you know? That way our guitarist can focus on guitar, we can have our lead singer. Cousin Eddie, you know, would be a perfect match for that. In fact, I'll even take the bottle out of his hands. And if we pop the microphone off of the stand right there, we can actually have Cousin Eddie properly holding that as well, since he already has the C-grip hand on there. So that way we can have a nice band setup right there with now 4 members. And yeah, Cousin Eddie is just basically in his underwear, but I think that actually is a pretty punk look to him right there. I really dig this setup right here. This is actually probably how I'm going to end up displaying this band when Cousin Eddie is not wearing his Christmas onesie. And if we even wanted to complete the look even more, we can throw the feather boa back on him. And now he's properly crashing this Gig from Hell. I think this is a very cool look. So, final thoughts on this set. Honestly, I think this is one of Mezco's best offerings, perhaps ever. There is just so much versatility, so much fun that you can have with this set, so many different display options, so many different ways you can put these guys in different band arrangements, incorporating the rest of your Mezco Rumble Society, and giving the accessories from this set onto your other figures. While the price was expensive originally, I think everything you get in this box is just completely worth it, especially especially if you're a Mezco diehard and you have plenty of other figures in the Rumble Society collection already. This feels like an absolutely welcome addition with a ton of great stuff that I think will complement the rest of your collection really well as if it's your first dip into the Rumble Society universe. This is such a great starter set. You've heard about the Pink Skulls for so long, and the hype behind them was so real for so many years as people in the community had that original set and were able to take amazing pictures of it. The hype only grew, and I think this set right here completely makes that last set obsolete. There's really no reason, I believe, to go back and get that original set, given that you get so much more with this one, plus a few of the key accessories from that first set. So you're actually able to make a version of that first set with these figures right here, which means there's really no need to go back and get that other set. If you really want those original looks, you can actually achieve those pretty well with this, plus everything else you get. And that's why I think this Pink Skulls Chaos Club Gig from Hell box set is one of the absolute best of this year.
There you go, friends. I hope you enjoyed. This was probably my fastest turnaround time for any review, so if you dug this video, please let me know by hitting the like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already so you can catch all my content like my weekly live stream series, Fobster Live, now back for Season 2. Thanks for watching. See you next time.